Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank all the witnesses for being here today, especially those who had the decency to do so in person. So thank you. You know, I'm once again just absolutely disappointed, but not surprised, that my colleagues across the aisle are continuing to waste our time chasing ghosts rather than working for the American people. To assert that A.G. Barr, who's a serious law enforcement officer, he has a sterling reputation, to run around and say that he's interfering, he's running political interference for the president, it's absolutely laughable. A.G. Barr is cleaning up what are the ruins of the Obama-Biden DOJ. In particular, he's cleaning up from Jim Comey, who weaponized and politicized the FBI. And if you doubt me, just look at the treatment of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Those were political abuses. That was political gamesmanship that was orchestrated by FBI Director Comey and what I call his merry band of never-Trumpers. Comey's FBI used the Logan Act. For those of you that don't know, the Logan Act is highly problematic and frankly, it's likely unconstitutional. The Logan Act makes it illegal for U.S. citizens to engage in unauthorized foreign diplomacy. And despite this, the FBI used this archaic act, to set up General Flynn, even though they knew that he would never be charged with the obscure offense. In fact, since its enactment, the Logan Act has only been used twice to prosecute individuals, one in 1802 and one in 1852, and both were acquitted. So then why use this to go after Flynn? Well, according to the handwritten notes, the FBI's goal was, quote, truth/admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired, end quote. And around the same time the FBI was doodling these notes to set up Michael Flynn, around that same time, former Secretary of State John Kerry was holding meetings with the Palestinian Authority. Senator Dianne Feinstein had dinner with the Iranian foreign minister, yet neither of those individuals were even questioned about Logan Act violations. So clearly the charges against Flynn were politically motivated. And I should note that just this morning, an appeals court ruled the appeals court ruled in General Flynn's favor, ordering the dismissal of that case. So even if the DOJ recognized the Logan Act's futility, informing the FBI that it was not supportive of using the law to entrap it still used the law to entrap General Flynn. An FBI lawyer, in fact, testified before Congress and said the DOJ viewed the Logan Act as, quote, untested, and that the Logan Act would leave the DOJ vulnerable to, quote, substantial litigation risk, unquote. But that didn't stop Director Comey from using it to attempt to sabotage the Trump transition team. So if my Democrat colleagues want to accuse someone of politicizing the DOJ, they should start with Director Comey. Mr. Zelensky, what's your view of the special counsel's office toward the Logan Act?
Congressman, I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but I have been told by the Department of Justice that there are deliberative process concerns with the discussion of the special counsel's office and what transpired there outside the confines of the report. I'm happy to discuss the special counsel's office's report, as I am happy to go to the department.
All right, Mr. Zelensky, I'm going to reclaim my time. How do you explain the discrepancy then between the treatment of General Flynn and that of Secretary Kerry and Senator Feinstein?
Congressman, I would need to consult with the Department of Justice before answering that question. If you would like,
right. I'm going to reclaim my time. Let's just switch gears and talk about Mueller's probe. You know, I was following it in the news, and it seemed like there were a lot of leaks during that time. Did you talk to the press during the Mueller investigation?
Never.
Do you know anybody that talked to the press?
I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure I get your question. And do I know of any person that has ever talked to the press, or do I know anyone in the special counsel's office?
Yeah, that was working on the investigation. Did you know anybody on that team that was talking to the press?
Aside from our press relations professional, no.
Judge, in your time at the DOJ, did you ever use the Logan Act?
I'm sorry? No.
Why not?
I was never, I was never aware of any situation that could conceivably have been covered by it, and had I been, I think I would have been hesitant to use it because, number one, I believe it's unconstitutional.